Hey, everybody, and welcome to the AdSkills Pro podcast. I am your host, Kate Buck Jr., and this podcast is where we share case studies from real life campaigns run by top ad buyers. And the best part is at the end, you'll hear how to connect with our ad buyer. Today, we have Jay. Hey, Jay,
Hi,
welcome to the show.
thank you.
Jay is a creator of the Billion Dollar Framework. He is a 16-year marketing vet, and he has stood up and exited three successful seven-figure agencies just in the last 2.5 years alone. So I am sure we are going to get a lot out of this episode, without a doubt. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. So tell me a little bit. I did a little bit intro, but I'm intrigued by this billion dollar framework and this 14-year vet. So,
Yeah.
what, before we dive into the tactical stuff, tell us a little bit about you and maybe what were you doing before you started in the world of marketing, and what maybe inspired you to do so, or what brought you to this world?
Yeah, for sure. No, I was broke before starting. And so basically I started in internet marketing, specifically because I left a career in the music industry. I traveled for a better part of a decade, did 280 shows a year. I was a pro musician ever since I was essentially 12 years old. So that was great. Until one day I found out hey, I'm going to have a son. So I had to get a big boy job. So I have found myself trying to navigate this post rockstar lifestyle into, hey, I'm having a kid. So I was a broke call center guy making $9 an hour, actually also working part-time at a Bible school, believe it or not. Most people can't believe that. Just trying to make, heads way. I was getting free tuition, as well. So technically I have a degree in theology. That's my only post high school education. What that means, I have no idea, because it found out is not even accredited. But that's another story for another time. So what was happening is we were living, I think 3 or 4 to an apartment, while we were just in Florida. We were all young kids, and we're this sucks. Ramen noodles and bean burritos only get you so far. So that's whenever we started, playing with the idea of, hey, there's this AdSense stuff, right? So we would create an AdSense account, and then go to the public library and click on our ads a bunch until we got those banned. And then, fell for the whole biz ops stuff, and actually had a lot of success. That's where I got in the world of paid media. That's where I first ever created my first ever $2,000 day. So I'm thinking that I found this new career and this new passion, right? I'm going to be rich, by, come Christmas. And needless to say, that was for the last $2,000 day I had in a long time. I spent the last a couple of years after that, just basically just dumping money, trying every new thing under the sun. Actually what really got me into the agency aspect is because back then everything was hustle and grind. That was what was being taught. You had to work 80 hours a day. And the big fad back then was SEO agencies. For those that remember the whole Web 2.0 and all that other kind of stuff. So I stood up, in my opinion, I thought it was successful because of the monetary. I wound up being able to acquire 10 different clients, $3,500 a month. I even knew Justin a little bit back then. And so I'm thinking wow, this is great success. Before I realized I knew absolutely nothing about business at all. I didn't know. I was one of those intuitive marketers where it's just I had a lot of good gut instinct as far as with marketing campaigns that I did. But whenever you translate that into the world of business, you'll quickly get squashed. Working 80, 90 hours a week, basically got to a point to where I was burnt out because I was trying to do everything myself. I didn't understand about creating systems, processes, and procedures, or really about business management. So I wind up just letting all of that go. And then that's whenever I was, kind of went through this 3 to 6 month period where I'm just kind of the ebbs and flows, the bipolarism of entrepreneurship is what I call it, right? Because, it's kind of everybody has their major stories or their swings, their home runs, but then it's almost an equal and opposite reaction. So I was oh, well, this is great. And I was trying to self-reflect. What did I learn? about that. And I really learned that, like, look, I need to learn business. Business, first of all, if I'm ever going to have sustainable success. So I actually wind up talking my way into basically getting in with Apple under the BPO division. And set clear-cut KPIs as far as with that, because I'm like, all right, Apple's $1 billion company. So like what, like obviously I'm going to be able to learn how to do business from them. And, the truth is I actually did. That's whenever they really ingrained into me the importance of having system processes and procedures. Because really skill set without systems is just a hobby, and that's just plain and simple. If you don't have a system, you don't really have a business. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can't make money with a hobby, because there's a lot of great marketers out there that have successful product launches. But what you'll see is that they'll have a successful product launch, and in a couple of years you don't hear from them, and then maybe they'll try to do another product launch because they don't have a way to sustain systematically success. So I think that all goes together. Is that a tweet? Is that what y'all social media marketers call a tweeter?
Well, actually, I have something about, I talk about that to my social media managers separately, who are service providers, is that most of them don't realize that they don't actually have a business because they're just a freelancer, right? Like they're in the feast or famine roller coaster. They're not spending any money on marketing to bring in new clients. They don't have systems processes. And if they got hit by a bus tomorrow, which, not that I'm asking for that, but if you're suddenly out of the picture, all of a sudden does the business sustain itself? And if you can't answer those questions, then you're a freelancer, so to speak. Then you basically have a job. You just work on contract and not W-2 or whatever. So I love that you I appreciate that you pointed that out. And so it sounds like you kind of went to the school of hard knocks.
Oh, 100%. Well, like my career path, which is funny now, is the whole Jumpstart program that y'all are actually trying to do. I'm a huge proponent and believer, right? Because I kind of started off like in the typical internet marketing stuff, like roughly 12 years ago, 10 to 12 years ago. And that's where I kind of like cut my teeth and tried a bunch of stuff. But really over the last decade, it's really diving into the world of business and really starting to utilize the, for lack of a better phrase, W-2 positions, right? So I started utilizing that to actually gain the knowledge that I have right now, which we'll get to where I went from making $9 an hour to where I'm actually creating $1 billion media plans, for $1 billion companies. And it's basically, I was like, all right, I don't know business, right? So I got a job where I learned business, and then I created KPIs, because a lot of people never attach a KPI to their goal, and they wonder why they never go anywhere. So I'm like, at 6 months, I want to be at this position. I want to be an ops manager. All right, well, I did that in 3 months. Then I'm like, all right, I want to be senior ops manager. Well, I did that in 3 more months, right? So I give myself definitive timelines, and then like basically, if I don't hit my goal, I cut it, I move on. But because I put that, it kind of put a very aggressive goal on that, to where then I was, all right, I have all of this intuitive marketing experience. I've had success in marketing, now I actually know business. So now I'm going to actually leverage that. And I was able to actually start working with some different startups and basically start building up different marketing programs, based again off of a systemic structure, and then had success doing that. Right. So then I was able to actually leverage that, because I was still in the tactical weeds. I would get a job, doing media buying. That way I got front row experience every day. I could actually spend money, see data, and start to basically take all of this information that I have and produce output. And that's a lot of times, like in internet marketing, you'll hear a lot about this whole concept of information overload, right? Have you ever heard that one? And all that means is if you're overloaded by information, it's because you don't have a system to actually produce output, right? So it's like you're feeding your body tons of calories and you're never actually expending the energy. And that's the reason why you sit there and get fat.
That is actually a really great analogy. I've not heard that before, but it makes perfect sense. People are really information consumers, and they don't actually utilize or apply the information that they know or that they've learned. I actually tend to be information consumption adverse a little bit, to the point of people think, I don't buy courses, and I don't, I get advice from friends occasionally when I need it to get out of something, but I don't want to be in that role. So I love that you pointed that out. However,
Okay.
I do, before we talk about the system that you've developed and some of these the billion-dollar code and all of that.
Framework. Yeah, yeah.
I have heard you say about systems and processes and
Yeah.
procedure and doing some learning. And I know that you are a member of like AdSkills Pro-League and
Yep.
all of that. So I am selfishly going to ask how that has contributed to your success. You know, given what we just said, is that we both feel like just consuming information for the sake of consuming it
Yeah.
can actually be more detrimental than helpful. How have you used the information you've consumed and the community as a proponent to help you move forward in your business?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So again, I've known, I follow Justin back from his, site fling days, right? So like I've been on his list forever. So that's a major throwback Thursday today. Yeah. So anyways, so for the longest time, I was also, again, I'm very conscious of being information averse like you. And so it's one of those things I'm like, well, like I've actually had success. I've worked my way up from media buyer to the tactician to strategy to running regional strategy for billion-dollar companies like the USA Today network. I've successfully launched this stuff. And at first I was thinking, I was like, I know the level of Justin's training and what he goes through. You see all the reviews, but for the last time, I'm like, well, that's good for them, right? But I already have a system in place that works for me. But anyways, I wind up actually biting the bullet December of this past year of 2019 leading into essentially the New Year's. Just because I was like, all right, what really the main proponent was for the fact that as I was standing up all these different divisions, is one to see how the training and everything was structured, because to really maybe utilize that as training for the media buyers that I was actually standing up. So I was like, all right, so that kind of got me already budgeted as far as with my annual plan. I'm like, all right, let's get this thing done. But the biggest value is actually in the community. So in the community of being able to just, even with the systems and processes and procedures and everything that I have in place to eliminate the guesswork, there's still sometimes you just have a brain fart, right? Or there's just something that you can't see whenever you're in the midst of it. So it's good to get all of these extremely intelligent people to give you outside perspective. So again, this is not an earnings or disclaimer at all, but just from joining the community, I can track my personal income in the 6 months alone has already increased 300,000 this year. Will that say that anybody who does AdSkills, or is that the value? No, because I know how to utilize the information, the training provided, the community, the networking to systematically build success. But the community is a no-brainer. I mean, it's worth like 10 times the cost of admission, in my opinion. So if you're just starting out, Jumpstart. Absolutely. I'm a testament of that's the career path that you can go. I took from making, $22,000 a year to well over six figures, just doing the Jumpstart S type of program. Or even if you're successfully running media, the networks and the connections that you actually make within the AdSkills community will hands down be well worth it. So.
Oops, I was on mute. Awesome. I really appreciate you.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I really appreciate you sharing that. I love the community as well, obviously, but I'm biased. So,
well, I'm not even that active in it.
but,
It's not like I'm that guy out there posting and stuff, because I'm an incredible introvert. I'm probably the textbook INTP, if y'all understand Myers-Briggs. And I'm am kind of an antisocial by trade personality, right? So that even goes to show you that you don't have to be this big, huge personality going there. I'm just basically a fly on the wall of basically seeing what other people are doing, being able to connect it to questions I already have. And any question that you can probably come up with, any problem that you could probably come up with, instead of me actually posting, I just search it and it's already been asked 100 times and answered phenomenally. So that's the reason why it's just like my personal thesaurus of like, how do I break through that plateau? What is that one tweak I need to make to the systems to take us from a $10,000 a day ad spend to $20,000 a day? What are those common pitfalls? So I already know what to watch out for, and I already prep for that. That way I essentially just use it to learn from everybody else's expensive mistakes. So.
Well, as a community manager, I'm also warmed in my heart to hear you
Yeah.
say that you use the search feature first to find the answer to your
Yes.
question before you post it, because nobody does that. So thanks. That's a little bit of love just straight from my heart to yours. Now, moving onward, I want to hear about this formula, this billion dollar, I'm not saying it right
A
because I
billion
put my
dollar
notes
framework.
away.
Yeah.
$1 billion framework. Let's hear about it.
All
Tell us
right.
about your brag-worthy campaigns. Fill us in on all the awesome stuff that you're up to.
Yeah, so I will tell you a little disclaimer whenever people hear about the billion dollar framework. It's basically, they're like, oh, are you trying to, basically create a course to show you how to make $1 billion? That's not what it is. What it is actually learning how to take the systems, processes, and procedures to predict, or that I've utilized in billion dollar companies to basically create predictable and sustainable results. All the way up to the point to where recently I was actually asked to actually build out a media plan for a company who had a 3-year time plan to hit $1 billion. And I went through this same exact process as far as this is the way I'm going to approach it. And they basically brought me on board to actually help lead the charge to get them to that $1 billion. So essentially what it is, it's creating, if AdSkills is the most elite cooking school of media buying. If it turns you to a world-class chef, what the $1 billion framework essentially does is it gives you the meal plan. It gives you, like, on day one, this is what you need to do, and basically your shopping list. So if we actually have a couple of time, I kind of alluded to it. Maybe they'll leave it in, maybe they won't. But I can actually go through one of the frameworks that I actually built in place, utilizing you. As an example, I'll ask you a couple of questions, and within less than 10 minutes, I can take you from an idea of an untested, proven niche all the way to a 6-figure launch. Are you up for the challenge?
I'm nervous, but let's do it.
All right.
I feel like now all of a sudden the tables are turned. I like this because I'm not the guest for once.
You're not the guest. Well, and also my personality is a teacher, right? So that's part of the reason why I obsess of, like, how do I take all this chaotic stuff and break it down? So I'm just going to ask you a series of questions. Yeah, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and then we're going to basically create a campaign. So let's talk about you starting off, not knowing anything that you know. You're just maybe interested in this whole arena. What is something that you like to do?
I just got certified as a yoga teacher for fun. That's my hobby, yoga.
So you like yoga. So the number one thing that I always do, and this is actually goes to one of the protocols I have in place, it's a campaign viability protocol, to where if an offer can actually structure, and what we're about to go through, I don't even run the campaign because you're almost guaranteed. If it does work, it's not going to be sustainable growth. So essentially what I always do is I try to get in the frame of mind of the buyer. So I like yoga. So that would be the niche or the niche. So here's the thing. So getting into the mindset of the person. So I like yoga. Okay. So now we're going to, the next step of it is, therefore I'm interested in, that's what we're going to fill in, kind of a blank.
Right.
But before you actually do that, just how many words that end in ing, can you come up with?
Around yoga or just in general?
Just in general.
Flying, singing, dancing, prancing.
Wow, you are creative.
Chanting.
Are you naturally creative?
I don't know. I think so. I guess so.
Okay.
Maybe. Well, we'll find out. This is not my interview.
Well, here's the way I think about it. I try to say stuff like increasing, saving.
Oh, see, you should have been a little bit more specific. You just said ing words.
Well, no, I know.
Increasing. Yeah. Okay, now you put me in a box. Now I have no words. You can come up with all those marketing words.
So increasing, saving, getting, reducing, right? So any of this stuff. So the reason why, even with the flying, singing, dancing, prancing, that still has validity, because ing words is an indicator of action. Right? So actions always lead to sales. So if you're basically saying anything with an ing, you're basically tapping into a market. So a niche is just all a niche is a group of people with a shared common goal or interest. A market is the people who are actively investing, right? That another E word or ing word in that niche. So then all you have to do now is answer what? So if you like yoga, Therefore, you're interested in, let's say, increasing what?
Increasing strength, increasing flexibility, decreasing stress, anxiety,
See, now
increasing peace and happiness, whatever, stuff like that. I mean, very typical yoga stuff. Not a rogue yogi all of a sudden.
Yeah, so yogi, so so then the next question I ask is, who are that type of people who would, is there any type of buzzwords or jargon around yoga? So like a yogi, right? Now here's the thing is, by tapping into this, you're finding the markets within any niche. Because you're finding what people are actually already actively engaging with. So if you're a yogi or an aspiring yogi who's interested in increasing strength, what are you going to do? If you have a question, so that basically by doing those ing words, you're uncovering the desired result or the problem that they're facing, right? So if you want to learn how to do that, what are you going to do?
If I want to learn how to increase strength?
Yeah. If you have that problem.
Find a teacher that, I'll solve it. I'm sorry, couldn't help myself.
No, you'll find a teacher. Well, how are you going to find a teacher?
You'll find a teacher. I'm going to search.
Search, right?
Online.
An online search, right? So what is a keyword phrase that you do, like how to increase strength? Or maybe you're looking, hey, if you're a yogi who's looking for a teacher to teach you how to break through that plateau, right? So the reason why I kind of structure it this way is, and I'll give you a couple of scenarios to kind of tie it outside of the yoga for the people who may be watching, is this actually starts then giving you the search intent, right? So once we start knowing the search intent, we've uncovered their biggest pain points or weakness, then most of the time people are going to go to Google or YouTube and search for how to increase strength doing yoga, how to increase flexibility with yoga, or whatever that is, right? So that starts giving me now a structure for the ad grouping, structures for the keywords, and it actually tells me now exactly the product I have to create. So now, you being certified in yogi, do you think you can come up with 5 tips to increase flexibility for somebody interested like me? I'm not flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Could you give me
5 tips
5?
Yeah, I could.
Yeah. So then all you would then have to do is bust out your iPhone if you wanted to record those 5 tips. And then now you already have a product. So you have a product that's matching to the user intent. So then if I go and say like how to increase flexibility, and I instantly see maybe a TrueView ad or like a YouTube ad for it says like, hey, if you're interested in increasing your flexibility, I have a course that'll show you 5 tips you can actually do now. It takes 5 minutes of your time. All you have to do is click on the link below. Right. And then it's like, oh, crap, I was actually searching for that problem solution as far as how to solve a pain point that I have. And then I saw a video for that. Or maybe I didn't actually go to YouTube. Maybe I went to I'm going through just a Google search. Well, guess what? If I see a PPC ad that says how to increase your flexibility based off of what I just searched, that's great. What if I didn't actually click on a PPC ad and I actually went to and read an article about how can middle-aged overweight men like myself increase their flexibility? So I'm sitting there reading an article and I see these banners that says how to increase your flexibility. Chances are it's now putting those very targeted messages right out into the people at the point of buying. And that's the reason why I've been transitioning more people over like these Facebook ad agency people, which Facebook, you're really targeting people by who they are. You need really to me, I kind of consider it the creative aspect of it, that long form sales copy. There's this whole story that you have to sell, versus on Google, it's very analytical A/B. Like, I want this, I search for this, and then I came across your ad or a product for it. And then hang on where it was going. So increasing. So then now if I searched for that, I saw the ad, I clicked on the ad, and I went to a website that says 5 tips for increasing your flexibility. And it's just a little bit of a bullet point with, chances are that means that I'm now, I found the exact product that answers the exact problem or gives me the exact or desired result. And then that's whenever you start attracting all of these kind of those low funnels where what's it called, the BOFU? Is that what Justin calls them? Or HubSpot, the BOFU funnels. And then that's whenever you actually start getting those buyers in. And then of course you can do some fancy stuff with the media buys on the other end. So the good thing is now you can easily repurpose that same content if it's increasing flexibility, if it's decreasing stress. If you already have the products around that, it gives you an endless supply of products to where you can almost customize the product or the offering per the keyword search. And if anyone knows anything in the AdSkills community about the quality score, what's that going to do to your ad costs? It's going to decrease it by anywhere between 50 to 70% because it's so extremely targeted. And it takes literally just a few minutes to completely map out, all right, what is my, what's the niche, what's the market, what creatives do I need for each of the platforms, and what's the headline of the landing page, and what is the offer that I have to create. So I know I'm kind of going through it very at a high level, but this is this is the way that you start sustainably and systematically actually creating success, because it takes the guesswork out of it. And the way that you're able to do it so quickly, you can easily just burn and churn. So literally, if all you need is 100 people that's interested in yoga per month, if you can create an average customer value of $100, then you already have a six-figure company. Maybe this one product is a $25 product that you send, but utilizing, all right, well, saving what, right? Are you a yogi that's interested in saving up to 30% on yoga supplies, right? So there's 5 different even frameworks on the ad creatives that always work, that always goes to my control, and then you just rinse and repeat. It almost kind of takes the pizzazz out of the success, but what's the sexy part about it is whenever you actually start seeing your ROI coming from your investment. So
yeah, that's really awesome. I'm even looking at it from my lens, which is the organic and the content marketing side, and you've just solved the biggest question that I get from my clients, which is, what am I supposed to write about this week? What do I blog about? What do I post about? What campaign are we running organically? What are we posting on social about? You know, what video am I supposed to be making for my YouTube? Do you have any ideas for my next podcast episode? And so we're always kind of digging around trying to ferret out ideas. And so this is also a real simple framework work for that as well.
No, absolutely. And that's actually where I initially developed it, because whenever you really understand the 3 phases or the 3 functional phases of the consumer journey, again, there's infographics with, I think, 9, but there's really only 3 that matter, right? You go from the awareness stage to the research to the buy. That's literally that's what this is doing. Because if you're on a Facebook, you don't even have to be good. Let's use something I know nothing about, golf. All right. The only thing I know about golf is Billy Madison. That was the golf meeting. No, Happy Gilmore.
Tap it in, right? Or it's all in the
Get
hips.
in the hole.
The end. Right. Okay. We know quotes from the Happy Gilmore movie. Got it.
So putting. Let's say putting. Actually, I know from a friend that they call putting a short game. So if all I have to do now is basically say, all right, well, if I like golf and I'm interested in improving, another ing word, my short game, then all I have to really do as a marketer is to go out there and create was it 5 videos? Is there 10 tips? Is there something that I can actually go out there and create? Because that's easy. The offer and what you're selling on the back end is easy once you understand it. But you don't even have to be good at that point in time at media buying as a whole. Like you can go in there and try to learn about, you know, custom affinity and all the in market audiences and all the bells and whistles and all that kind of stuff. Because I'm an average, or I should say a little bit above average, just because, you know, I like to, my ego won't let me just say below average, but I'm not the best media buyer. But I just got pulled on for a 3-year contract to take a company to $1 billion because of these systems and frameworks. If you put 10 people in the room, I might be 5 or 6, because what I focus on is the consumer journey on that. Because if at that point in time, if I have a product that says, hey, Laura, how to increase your short game, and I can go to Facebook now, do a general, hey, for people who like golf. And what it does is it actually calls out, it grabs the awareness or the attention of the audience. It basically says that, hey, if you're interested in increasing your short game, so instantly the people who aren't interested aren't going to click on the ad. I don't have to worry about that. And then it says like, hey, if that is your interest as far as increasing your short game, then I have a product that'll show you exactly how to do that. So I think a lot of media buyers, where they go wrong is that they try to focus on too much under the hood, bells and whistles, and what's this new magical button that I can do to increase performance, and has nothing to do with that. Really, the name of the game once you start scaling is really AI optimization. Just, you can over optimize yourself to death. Just set up a campaign that has a structured consumer journey from start to finish, that you're targeting very specific to your target audience, and just let the thing run. The AIs themselves will optimize you towards success if you don't get there and try to keep falling for all these products of like, here's this loophole of this thing that you can do. Any loopholes quickly get closed. So then if you have your whole life, kind of like the whole Web 2.0 properties, call back to my old days, those were great until Google changed the game. And then now entire agencies collapse, right? Like you never really even hear about
strategy over tactics all day long. Strategy over tactics. Good solid strategy over tactics. It's the 100%. Long game, and it will win all day long.
And that's for those that are even interested in getting a career, maybe they're thinking about the Jumpstart program because they want to get a career in media buying. Well, great, learn the tactics. That's awesome. But if you learn strategy, that's whenever you add $50,000 to $100,000 to that base salary of that 50K entry point, right? And then now, if you can actually do that and get results, that's whenever you actually start getting to that $200,000 to $300,000 salary range, because now you can actually perform at a higher level. So again, I know I was kind of going a little bit quick on that. Hopefully, y'all get some feedback on it. But there are a couple of little pro tips I would like to share. Then I'll turn it back over to you.
Sure.
So,
yeah, let's hear them.
Pro tip number one, the most viable, I think, skill that any marketer can learn has nothing to do with marketing. You learn P&L management, and you learn about budgeting and forecasting. If you can do that, then that's whenever you actually start functioning at a higher level game. Too many marketers don't really understand the whole P&L management and how to make those hard decisions. So a lot of my friends that come in that want to try to get in the entrepreneurial game, I always ask to see their personal budget, because I can almost predict the success that an aspiring entrepreneur would have by how they actually manage their personal finances. You'll hear a lot of time, well, what do you do if you don't have that much money for ad spend? I want to go out there and learn paid traffic, but I don't really have that much money. You either cut costs or you create more money. Like that's the name of the game of the business, right? So you have to be able to look at your personal finances and say, all right, where can I drastically make those hard decisions and go without? That way I have money to spend. Or even if you're just like, maybe you're not yet up to getting media buying, go out there and get a DoorDash for 4 hours a night to make sure that you get more money. Those are those hard decisions that you have to make. And that's what's really going to determine whether you're going to have sustainable success. So that's what I would do. Another pro tip is never, ever get so caught up or in love with an idea or a product, because this is the reason why I kind of really hate doing media buys for other internet marketers or trying to run campaigns, because they get this product they're in love with, and they come to you and want you to make a success out of their product or their idea. And then they get so emotionally attached that no, it can't be the copy that they personally wrote. That's the reason why it's not converting. It couldn't be for the fact that there is no market for it because the product's crap. So you can go down all of the stuff that it's not them. They get so in love with that it has to be you in a media buy. And that's a common trap that media buyers don't know how to really kind of navigate. So my suggestion is don't get so caught up in love with an idea, because the product can't love you back. Right? Like there is no ego that could be in play. And so sometimes if your niche is like, you're a very fantastic copywriter, I usually always coach people to say, all right, outsource the copy. Because if you're the one that personally write it, then or wrote the copy, then you're going to be too close to it to basically make the hard analytical decisions on the traffic side, and create the systems and process that essentially get you to where you don't have to be in the business. You could be working on it. So
those are awesome tips. 100%. I no longer handle the marketing for my stuff because I am my market. I love my product. It's been my baby for 10 years. And yeah, I just can't make the right decisions for it. So now I just show up and dance like this
Yeah.
and I let other people
Yeah, and
do
especially
all
too.
those other smart things.
Well, especially when you're in business, that's something that nobody ever prepares you for, which I kind of alluded to the beginning. And maybe you haven't had that. Maybe it's just me. But there really is what I call kind of an entrepreneurial bipolarism, right? There's those times where you wake up where you're so energized and motivated and great. And then other days where you wake up and you're just like, what the crap am I doing? You know, like I don't want to do this no more. I want to quit. And then you have those times where you're just kind of coasting. And then those times where this extreme creativity and you have a bazillion ideas. And these other times where you're just like, I don't even know what I'm doing with my life, right? So as you start going through those roller coasters, and it's very common to do because being a media buyer, being an entrepreneur, or being moving into this game, it forces you to get outside of your comfort zone. So you have these flow of emotions. So just like on a roller coaster, as you're going up and down, what actually gets you to the final destination? The track. The track never changes. That's the systems, processes, and procedures that you have in line. That will basically say that no matter what's going on in the business, what's going on, even with this whole COVID stuff, recently, the businesses that I worked with that didn't have the systems and processes in place struggle. And the ones that I did, or that were successful, were the ones that already had this planned out, worst case scenario, bread truck plan type of system. And then they were actually great. And then some other clients, I'm like, what is going on? Y'all are basically 700 times in your business right now. It's just this huge rocket ship of results that they're getting. And it's because that they were more aligned and already prepped for it. So yeah. It's just kind of a real world. That's what I learned. If I would have had either the Jumpstart program or the AdSkills community, maybe I wouldn't have had to spend 14 years grinding it out and failing and spending way too much money and losing way too much money and learning it out the hard way. But that's the good thing. Now I'm able to actually be a viable member to the community because I have a lot of that real world, I got punched in the mouth type of experience. So I can show you how to go up against the Tysons because I know how hard he hits. And I can give you those things that only really you get from right now, we personally manage over $10 million a month, specifically on the YouTube platforms, right? So I have a huge amount of data that I can offer a lot of insights for. And so it's one of those things, if you're even thinking about joining it, just join. If you're saying that you don't have the money, find the money. It's literally, that's your only two options. And if you have no idea of where to begin, then do the Jumpstart program, or at least start with the book. What's it? Is it still free plus shipping, or is it like $10 now? Like start with the recipes book. I did it. I already had a team that did recipes. I didn't even want the book, but I did it just because you can never have too much knowledge and for the level that the AdSkills community provides. So.
This was awesome, Jay. Thank you so much.
You.
I'm sure by now people want to reach out to you and connect about whether they have questions or they want to, they're a prospect for you. Where can they find you? What's the best place? What's the best place for that? And is there anyone specific that you are looking for, or some criteria that they need to meet before they reach out? Go ahead and give us all those things.
Yeah, so I would say specifically on the agency side of things, I've kind of this year, because of the success that I've had with the AdSkills community, have moved to a McDonald's model. Do you understand what that is?
Do you want, I don't know. All I think is you want fries with that.
No. So the McDonald's model is, if you're going to actually buy a McDonald's, you have to have a certain amount of money, liquid cash in the bank. And you have to previously actually own a McDonald's already, right? So like the actual agency side of things, I'm not taking more clients on that. There is a minimum ad spend on that aspect of things. But if you want to learn more about the systems and processes, or kind of going back to the formulas, if you're a marketer that would like to have a system and process out in line, you can actually go to just jaysmastermind.com. So that is the thing. I'm not in the internet marketing arena, but I love teaching this stuff. And with those key insights that I've learned from managing $10 million a month in advertisement, by creating a $1 billion media plan and by being able to coach. I'm basically putting that all together to kind of give a systematic training. And that one of those frameworks, it's a little bit more outlined versus my random over caffeinated explanation here. And I also have 12 other frameworks that I'm going to be launching in August 2020. So if you can go there, sign up for the pre-launch list, you'll laugh at my marketing that I do personally, because again, I make my money actually doing it in the private sector versus trying to be a guru. I'm not a guru, but if nothing else, I'll always be sarcastic. I always make you laugh, and I always give you just the no BS insights that'll help you succeed. So.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that was Jay's mastermind. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm sure it'll be in the description. The link will be in the description below. If you're listening to the podcast, you can find it in the show notes. So thank you so much, Jay, for being here. I learned a lot and I had a lot of fun. Thanks for putting me in the hot seat for once. That was fun. It was less nerve-wracking than I thought it was going to be.
No, I'm easy going. So was that a swipe left or a swipe right on the interview?
We're going to the, I think we're going to the right, but you guys can also let us, wait. Yeah, no, left. I don't remember which one is which way. Left is no, right is yes, right? Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So you guys let us know in the comments, are we swiping right or left on Jay here? I say we're going to the right. And
if right's the good one, right? Right's the.
I think right's the good one. I'm trying to have some muscle memory. This whole COVID thing.
Muscle memory.
Haven't swiped in months, so I gotta think about actually which way would my thumb be going. But anyways, you guys, thank you so much for being here, and for all of you that are listening, be sure to subscribe to the show, leave us a review on iTunes, comment below with any questions that you have for Jay. Check out jaysmastermind.com, and I will see you on the next episode.
All right, bye guys.
If you'd like to learn more about how to use paid traffic and analytics to scale your business, subscribe to the AdSkills channel so you'll be notified every time new content is released. If you'd like to learn more about the topic we just discussed, check out the related video we're posting right now.